One of the things I enjoy talking about the most when it comes to Sorare is up-and-coming talents, undiscovered gems, guys that are right under the radar. And football fans all around the world, I think, enjoy that about Sorare itself, that they can get into any league, find the guy in the academy, find the guy out on loan somewhere crazy, bring them into their team, watch them develop, and get them onto the SO5 leaderboards eventually. And to do this video, I was actually reached out to from Boris at Sorare Info, and he was itching. He's like, Quinny, I just want to get on camera and talk about some Wonder Kids. I want to talk about who are the biggest and best stars in world football, and let's get stuck into some of the budget guys and some of the guys that are going to be the big thing, not just for the rest of this season, but maybe into next season as well. So it took a while, Boris, to get the calendars to align and the stars to fall into the right place. But finally, we've got together. We've got some badass teams, and we're here to record it for everyone. So Boris from Sorare Info, welcome, mate. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks. It's my pleasure. Yes, it has been a long time to get the stars aligned, as you said. And at the end, we have the lineups, and we have a small challenges to propose also to the community. So thank you to having me here for the launch of the Sorare Info channels also on YouTube that we recently launched, and we really appreciate your support. So thank you so much for having me here.
No problem at all. And all the links to Boris's YouTube channel and everything else will be down in the description of the video. So if you want to check that out. And like Boris says, there will be some sort of challenge issued towards the end of this, because as me and Boris got together to make this video, I'm not going to, like, Boris, this is probably the first time I've said this, right? But when we got together to do the teams, Boris has got an SO5 team that people's dreams are made of. I'm talking about the creme de la creme here. And then I gave him back a team that was totally different to that. And I was kind of thinking, this is probably going to compete it. And then one thing led to another. We've got 3 teams now. Each.
That's
So,
true.
so Boris, you obviously started right up at the top with like the kind of the all-star kind of team as well. But we've got 3 teams all together for today, don't we?
Yes, at the end we feed the challenges, and it's there are players for every budget, and that is the most important for all kind of managers, and that's why we all like. So so yes, maybe we can introduce the topic and exactly what will happen today.
So we'll have that one. We've still got an all-star team of sorts each, right? And this is like probably the most all-star team I've ever built on a video, because I'm used to doing budget stuff so often, you know. We're also going to have like a challenger team, and it's focused from Challenger Europe. But again, we're not thinking about the guys that are necessarily top of the food chain. Maybe one or two of them are, but generally speaking, they're guys that have room to grow, you know. And then we've got a training lineup. So this is guys, like, I really struggle to get guys that are proper DNPs, but it is guys that are like really like on the periphery. And these are guys that you just want to throw them into your club when they're really cheap and just get that XP up on them and wait for their debut to come. And you're like, yeah, I knew that guy was going to make it. I knew he was going to break into the team or get the loan or whatever it might be. So we've got 3 different squads to go through today. We'll probably start from the top. We'll go with the blockbusters, and then we'll work our way down into the grassroots, as it were. And by the end of the
Okay.
game, or by the end of the video, I suppose, me and Boris, we're going to have to compile a team, a mishmash team of 10 players under. And wait till you see the quality of players we've got in these teams, right? 8 players, 2 to position, under 0.3 Ethereum. It's some team that we come out with at the end, you know. So, yeah, that's what we'll be running through, Boris. In terms of the All-Star, the big baddie team, you know, the powerhouse one, I think it's only right that you kick us off with that, buddy. Who did you get?
The first keeper that I have is Diogo Costa. Of course, for me, it will be the best keeper to have next season, because Donnarumma will not be available. Alban Lafont will not be available. I think I forgot some big names on under 23, but I think these two
Muric.
that I just said are, yeah. So I think he will be the guy that you really want to have until the end of next season, and one of the best players in his position of the platform, and should remain so, because clubs like Manchester United are interested in the young Portuguese keeper. So my all-star goalkeeper U23 for next year, for this end of the season and next year, is Diogo Costa. That's for sure.
Excellent. What about in defence?
In defense, so yeah, in defense, Schlotterberg, Slimpy, one of
Oofed.
the best scorers, beast on the pitch, able to deliver assists from the defense, to score with the heads. So almost certain to be so next season, even without Bellingham playing with him. So speaking about Bellingham in the midfield, I wanted to add Bellingham, and at the end I changed my mind. I thought that he will change the club, so I decided to go with Pedri, a player who has invented a new soccer style of Iniesta that reminds me my young age and my best memories of football. So as Bellingham is likely to change clubs, I think I prefer to choose Pedri for the end of this season and next year to that is who is less likely to change clubs. In
Solid
attack
shout.
forward, yeah, I have Haaland, so the cyborg that is destroying all the records. And he is available next season. Mbappe will not be available next season, so my bet is that if he is in shape, no chance for other U23 forward to do better. And as an extra player, I really wanted a strong performer, and I have chosen Vinicius. That for me is the best player U23 right now. Even if Kvaratskhelia is doing really good at Napoli, for me Vinicius is the most decisive player. And if he is able to keep this rhythm until next season, he will delight us in every game for the Real Madrid and also for the Brazilian team. So these are my five, my SO5s All Star U23: Costa, Schlotterberg, Pedri, Haaland, and Vinicius. So I'm aware that this team is very expensive, but I'm also aware that with this team you can get really good rewards. So everyone makes his own decision and see if he wants to buy this or not.
Of course. And that was a team that you came to me with, and I was like, oh, Jesus, that is a team that you would just love to have, man. You know, every position, there's not much compromise to be had, you know. Schlotterbeck is just, you know, people thought Timber was like the ceiling for a defender, but I think Schlotterbeck is doing that in Champion Euro is a new level, you know, versus like somebody like Timber or Otamendi or somebody doing that in Challenge. I know Otamendi's very old, but you know what I'm saying. My team that I attempted to come back to you with that was so in goals for me. I think if you're going money no option under 23 defender, goalkeeper, I beg your pardon, it can only be Van der Voort. You know, Van der Voort for me is nailed, nailed on. Like for the next 3-4 years or whatever. So I love Diego Costa. I think he's a great shout. I think he's definitely up there with Van der Voort as first and second, probably. Like money no option decision. That's the goalkeeper you go for. For defence, I really struggled to get past a fullback because fullbacks can be quite make or break, as we all know. And I wanted to make it somebody who is quite a reliable defender, who's probably actually got a positive transfer in their maybe near to immediate future. And I went with Costello Luqueba, the centre back at Lyon, who broke out last season at 17. He's still playing every game now at 18, 19 under Laurent Blanc. And, you know, like Luqueba just screams out to me as somebody that will show up in the Bundesliga next season and be like a boss defender and then go to somebody else for like 140 million or something crazy, you know, like he's a rock, he's huge, he's solid, he's calm, cool, collected, and you know, I think he's really good. In midfield, I couldn't not pick, or up front, depends what your poison is. I could not pick Wirtz in this team, so it's up to you if you want to have him as a midfielder or a forward, to be quite honest. But I think he kind of speaks for himself at this point, Boris. Everyone knows Florian Wirtz. It's not really much of a secret. It is a kind of money no option approach, which would lead me to pairing him with Saka in midfield, because I just think, again, if you're going money no option, it's a really easy guy to get in an under 23 squad. And then for strikers, like, I'm not going to lie, mate, I was really stuck for choice. Like, for a money no option, it is hard to look past Haaland, but for a money no option striker, I couldn't find any stellar guys that I really wanted to get excited about or really go nuts about. And I ended up pinning it on Musiala just because I thought, well, if somebody wants to take Wirtz as a forward, then you can take Musiala as a mid or vice versa, and you can make your own mind up how you want to do it. But he's only going to get more minutes, and he only gets better as a player, you know. And I think Bayern Munich, huge team to have a footprint in, you know, in some way, shape, or form. So that was how I kind of rocked up for my all-star kind of one.
That's really strong. I hesitated with Musiala, because it's the new Messi. I think, I hope,
Wow.
and it's a really good choice to have two players with different positions that you can play with. I think some, if we speak about prices, I think some positions are more expensive than the other one. I think Musiala in midfield there is really hard to get now, because the cars are forward for Musiala. So if you have the chance to have Musiala as a midfield, my advice would be to keep it. But,
So the next teams we built was from Challenger, because that was actually the first team that I built in response. Because I thought, oh well, if Boris is going to build the big shiny money's no option champion team, I'll build a wee budget, no frills, good fun Challenger team. So I'll probably kick this one off since this was my kind of first kind of dice around with it. I have made one adjustment since I gave you it in the first place, but in goals I went for Croatia Youth International Ivor Pandur, who's on loan from Verona to Fortuna Sittard. And I picked this guy up as a rare like a year ago when he was on the bench in a bundle because Verona are bundle. So, and that's how I ended up discovering him. But he was signed to Verona by Igor Tudor, who's also Croatian, and he's now the manager of Marseille. And so I kind of instantly thought, well, if this is his first job as a manager, because Tudor was previously assistant manager to Pirlo at Juventus before that, then in Croatia, they must really like this kid, and Tudor knows something. And he's went, well, I'll bring this young goalkeeper in. That was my kind of imagination anyway. He's been on loan to Sittard this year, and he's been great. You know, bottom end team, scores really well on Sorare. He's only on loan there, so it really doesn't matter how bad Sittard are. He's going to go back to Verona. Maybe he gets in that team. Maybe he goes on loan again or something. But he's a youth international keeper. He will want minutes. He probably will. He will probably will get minutes for the most part. And for a budget kind of option for U23 as far as a budget U23 option can go, I think he's pretty good. He's got a really good outlook on things, you know. Um, the defender, I think, caught you off, Boris. I don't think you'd ever heard of the defender before, and that was Sean Adewoye. Now, Sean Adewoye is buttons. He costs like £2 or something like that, and he's not got an amazing pedigree or anything like that. I can't even remember how I originally even came across him, but he's got fantastic statistics. And what I've noticed over the last 3 months is if you look into the Eredivisie for defenders with progressive line breaking passes and all that kind of thing, Sean Adewoye is always in top fives and top tens. And it's only a matter of time before that underlying data results in a transfer from RKC Walwick to Feyenoord, 20, AZ, whoever, just a Heerenveen, just a slightly better team. And, you know, with those scores he's kind of getting now anyway, if he's in a slightly better team that concedes slightly less goals, then that's plus 4 points every time they concede less goals on those scores he's got now. So I like him for £2 odd. He's not, there's not too much that can go wrong with him, I think, you know. And then in midfield, this guy is quite a premium rookie. Arthur Vermeeren at Antwerp. Antwerp, a very solid defensive unit in Belgium. And he's came right into the starting 11 and holding midfield. Great scores. He does it at both ends of the pitch. And we all know how good Belgium are for producing young talent. And he's not really a budget option, but he's definitely a great Sorare card that you could buy his rookie card and run that guy for his career. And like, wow, see where he goes, what transfers, highs and lows and everything in between. The substitution I made, Boris, was I kicked out the other guy from the Eredivisie and I brought in Matt O'Reilly, who plays for Celtic. Now, he's probably much more well known, but Matt O'Reilly's quite cheap because Celtic rotate very badly or very actively, and that's not too great. But O'Reilly is absolute elite quality. Like, he really is top notch. And if you can just pay attention to when he's going to play and not, when he is on the pitch, he's 80 plus for a midfielder, no problem at all in the right fixture. And then up front, I went to Haaland again, and I got Santiago Jimenez for Feyenoord, the young Mexican that's just showed up there recently, and he's hitting the ground running, dropping all sorts of mad scores. I just thought a challenger, you know, top end team, good striker, it's cheap enough, and maybe not quite exploded on everyone's radar yet. How did you get on with your challenger team, Boris?
my challenger team, so it's not my specialty, I have to say. I'm not too much competing in challenger, but it was a good challenge for me to do it. So I have taken another approach, that is to take the all the leagues that I don't follow, basically,
Nice.
and go and make some researches inside them. So I have found a goalkeeper that is named Nicola Kavlina. I hope I pronounced correctly his name. So he's a young Croatian that has just arrived at NK Lokomotiva from the team 2, the second team of Dinamo Zagreb. And this proves that he wants to confront himself with the very high level. And he has been selected for the Croatian U21 team and can be an excellent candidate if he manages to stay in the team next season. Of course, it's a risky bet, but if he keeps playing, it's a no-brainer. So let's wait and see. As a defender, I had to go with Maxime the keeper. That is one of the first Belgian player that I personally spotted when he was playing at Club Bruges. That at the time in Sorare there was only the Belgium league, and it turns out that luckily this season he is phenomenal. I think one of the best defender in the game and one of the best U23. And I wish him all the best for next season as well. It's also a risky bet. Maybe he comes back at Bruges and doesn't score anymore. So, but I want to take the risk. As a midfield, I take Xavi Simons, a bit expensive, but the young Dutch prodigy passed by Barcelona, Paris, he says that he's feeling good at PSV, and in views of his performances this year, staying another year would allow him to continue to play good games and therefore big scores on Sower. So that
Yep.
being said, Paris has an option to bring him back. So I bet that he will prefer to stay and to be a starter at PSV rather than a substitute at Paris next season. But I have no clue about that. Um, I wanted to combine two players, so I combined Xavi Simons and Bakayoko, that this year is playing for PSV, and he's one of the revelations this season. I take the risk that he continues this momentum, and provided that Xavi Simons remains in the same club, the combination of these two players can be magnificent to win rewards in U23. And as an extra
Agreed.
player, I wanted a small not small but cheap option and a guy that I think in the future will be really impressive. And I go with Pepe, that is a young American guy on loan from Groningen that is growing in strength game after game. And I believe that he will continue this trend next season, no matter which club he plays for. So this is my lineup: Nicola Kavlina, De Kuiper, Xavi Simons, Bakayoko, and Pepe.
I
So
love that.
no James, no players that nobody knows. But I had to secure a little bit, and as
Of course.
I'm not playing challenger usually.
No, no, of course, man. I love that team. The Kuiper's a great, especially as a defender card, a real make or break effort because he can pop. Like he can really drop a big number, And defender cards like that are always a lot of fun. And like you say, Xavi Simons, like if he stays at PSV and gets some Europa League or some Champions League on top of all the domestic stuff, he'll be fantastic. And then we ended up with two more teams. We ended up with some training teams because when you're looking at Wonder Kids and when you're looking through the market, there's always guys that you look at and you're like, oh, I'd love to talk about this guy, but there's no real reason to talk about them. You can't really think, oh, this guy's going to be great tomorrow or anything. But they're still high prospect, really interesting guys to watch out for, maybe quite well priced as well. And it's always good fun to talk about. And Boris, you named it basically the training team, and I love that name for it. It is just a little training team that we've got. Um,
Yeah, I have to say that since I have started Sower, I played the training really a lot, and for me, it's a pity that it's not developed as I would like it to be. I really like the things that three teams, you got all the XP for all the other players. But for guys that are playing for the really long time, I think we can take that training in another level, and I hope in the future the XP will be combined with the scores of the guy you put in training, the three teams that you enter in training. If the player plays, then maybe you get a bit more. But I think there is a strategic aspect here that I don't complain because, of course, there are other priorities. But I think that we can go really much further, and I played much more training than actually the SO5 competition since I arrived in the game. So I have to say that this is for me the most fun part of the Sorare game, to find young players, buy them, keep them if you want to grow and farm the XP, or to sell them for profits. There is no financial advice. I hope these guys will perform. Maybe no. So I had to go with a French team. I had to make decisions. I have much more in store. but I had to go with a French team, so I start with a young guy that is called Noah Raver. This young guy is followed by many clubs, if we believe the news, including AC Milan. He's playing for the French national team U17. A young guy, tall guy, strong guy. So I really believe in his future. There are much other goalkeepers, Robin Rissier and others. I had to go with one, and I went for this one. The defender, it was easy, I have to say, because this guy is the tallest of his generation. El Shaddai, so the most promising defender in France,
Wow.
according to me. I think this guy, he, I don't know why he's playing football, but no, more seriously, he's the kind of player that I think for his age will be beyond any performances. Captain of the U27 team that wants many rewards, many trophies. So for me, it was a no-brainer. Paris Saint-Germain always had incredible young prospects, and I think this guy will really smash it. For midfield, I wanted to have also as much as possible Paris players. So I went with Warren Zaïre-Emery, that is the one of the youngest freshmen to have participated in Champions League match, and the technical qualities of this midfield are extraordinary. So no brainer as well. Forward, I think everyone know this guy as well. That is Matistel. It's an expensive purchase in Sorare, and also it was the case for Bayern Munich. That is not a club accustomed to throwing its money around. So I'm convinced that Tell in the future it will be the level of Coman or even better. So when I see Coman playing, I want to have Tell in the training on Sorare. An extra player, I wanted a guy that is not really famous and that I think will be the kind of player like Giroud. So a guy that will take time to come, but when he will be at his full potential, will be incredible to have in a team. So Ablin, a
Nice.
striker from Rennes who decided to try the adventure in Auxerre, and he's not afraid to take responsibilities. He's an ambitious guy, and he can score regularly for many years. So let's wait and see. Huh?
Lovely team, lovely. Well, with my training team, I try to have that kind of vibe about it as well, where it is guys that are in the training lineup and whatever. Um, and I ended up going with Jonas Urbig in goals. Now, Jonas Urbig is a under 18 German goalkeeper. He's got some rookie cards. He's playing in Bundesliga 2 on loan now. Like he might get some utility out of him with another loan. Who knows? But he's getting first team minutes. He's got some caps. He's a good backup goalkeeper to look at, I think. In defence, I went for Noah Mbamba Muanda, if anyone is familiar with him, formerly of Bruges, now with Leverkusen. You might have missed it if you blinked. He's now moved there. But as we've seen with Leverkusen, they've taken their whole defence out of Belgium, basically. Odilon, Tapsoba, Jonathan Tado. I don't think Jonathan Tah came out of Belgium. And I think there's somebody else already in that team before Mbamba came in terms of centre-backs that they've been kind of developing and moving on. But I think Leverkusen are probably about to maybe release Ta. I don't think Ta will be there for much longer. Maybe Tapsoba or Odilon. Maybe a big transfer comes for one of them. But this Mbamba is playing it for Bruges at 16, signed by Leverkusen for a lot of money at 17, 18. This is a guy that when he does get into the team, I would just expect him to replicate Tapsoba's kind of scores from his style of play or Odilon, depending on how he's deployed in the team. And, Leverkusen, they've done this before. It's not a mystery to them. They've taken in these defenders from Belgium, brushed them up and made them Bundesliga level. It's not a new thing for them. In midfield, I'm quite Bundesliga minded again. What a lot of people consider to be the future of German midfield is a guy called Tom Bischoff at Hoffenheim. And he's starting to get minutes. He's starting to debut. And he does look the part. He looks like Wirtz level, and let's hope that it can be. And again, the now on Sorare, these guys, when they're not playing, when they're not banging 80s and 90s, it is all speculation. They're a lot cheaper because they've not done it yet. And you're hoping they might do it. And it's guys like this that have got a bit of pedigree that really get you excited. So I like him a lot. But the midfielder to go with him, Boris, was at Leverkusen, but is now back in his native Denmark, playing for Nordischland, and his name is Zidane Sartdemir. High prospect. Leverkusen spent a couple of million on him. He never got a game. They cancelled his contract, or something happened. He's like, I'm done with this, and he's back to Denmark. I beg your pardon. He's not played yet, but he will play, because that's the whole point of it. And when he does play in that division, you would hope he would do pretty well. And then up front, similar kind of mold. This guy also plays for Nordischland, and he's on loan from Lille, and his name is Rocco Asconi. Now, I've seen this guy play because I had his limited for a while, and this guy has got a left foot. He's a good striker, quite clever. A wee bit taller than what his Sorare card maybe would suggest, I think, when you see him. He can hit a free kick. I've seen him score free kicks, take some corners and stuff. He's a really tidy kind of forward. I don't really know much more about him beyond that, Boris, but for a training lineup, what I like about all those cards as well from a Sorare perspective is you can get them all as a rookie, and having a full rookie team. I always love that.
That's really nice. I have to say that there are players that, especially two, that I love, that are Mbemba, and really tall guy as well,
Yep.
and Serdemir, that I also believe that will be a great training experience to farm them and maybe have high scores in the future. Let's hope. Yeah.
So, Boris, we've put our heads together and we've tried to build a team, 2 players to each position, like we mentioned, under a 0.3 budget that will give you a bit of utility, maybe now, but in the longer term, looking at U23, having some great players that should develop and should be on the up and up, as it were. The goalkeepers, we ended up going with both the Croatians, Boris, didn't we? We went with Pandur and Kavlina, just going for that. They both seem pretty solid and very well looked after at this point in their career. And for both of them, the price that they come in at, you get a good bit of reliability in goals, I think.
Yeah, totally. I totally agree with you. There are two good options. If one is not playing, the other one has high chance to play. So let's keep the finger crossed.
Big time. In defence, we ended up going with De Kuiper for those big peaks that he offers. And then we took Sean Adewoye because of how cheap he is and how just good points per pound he was giving us, eh? Midfield got a bit sticky. We had to readjust things on budget because I made a boo-boo in preparation for this. So we ended up taking Matt O'Reilly and Vermeeren into midfield, which I think were two really good choices, but it was two of my choices, and none of Boris's fit under the budget because of me, unfortunately, which is a shame. But
it's okay. No.
that left us up front with Big Tell from Bayern Munich up front alongside Asconi. So a nice French forward line there for us as well, Boris.
Yeah, I really believe that these two forwards are good options, and it's also my fault because I have only guys that are expensive. It's my rich dream. It's my rich dream.
That's it. So, for anyone who's watching the video and enjoyed it, we would love to hear your interactions from the teams that we've built. Any food for thought you've taken from it. Any players that we've not mentioned that you're like, how did the guys not bring this guy into the conversation? Drop them down. And next time me and Boris, or next time we get back to doing this, we'll dive into the comments. We'll pull your suggestions and names onto the screen, and we'll pick over the bones of all that good stuff.
We wanted to select 2 players per position for a budget of less than 0.3, so 8 players in total. And we will give away a prize on social media at the same time as this video is released, and the rules to participate will also be explained on the social media post. And we want to involve you in getting to know some of the lesser known players and highlight members of the community here on YouTube as well as on social networks. So we propose you to submit 3 teams as we have done. One all-star without consideration of price, one U23 Challenger to select, so you have to select players in the league eligible for the Challenger competition, and one training U23, so only players who play less than 40% of game week and who are under 19 years old. Then you submit your team of 8 players within the budget of 0.3 Ethereum unlimited, and the participant that we will select with Quinny after some times, I think 1 month, we will give him the prize, and we will make the same video in 1 year on the same time and discuss which team have done better, which team have done a bit less, and maybe I have missed the train. So it will be interesting and fun to see. And maybe we can invite also the winner of the contest if he is okay to come. So
Yeah,
so
for sure,
thank
man.
you
Sounds
very
great.
much. Thank you very much, Queenie, for your invitation. It was a really amazing pleasure.
No, I had great fun, Boris. Thanks very much. I'm looking forward to seeing all the entries for the competition down below. I'm looking forward to that. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Don't forget to check in the description of the video. We'll have the full explanation of the rules, as well as all the links to find Boris and Sorare info and all that good stuff, guys. About to pop on screen, there is some other stuff that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Catch you later.